what you're trying to do with throwing is make it a little bit more creative, but ultimately we're trying to teach our kids to throw from every slot. You know, one of the things that's really tough when you get to the collegiate level is finding kids that have the ability to throw on the run. But mostly, do you have the ability to be balanced and, you know, achieve success? Throwing is something that everyone thinks that they can do. But the truth is, it's a lot tougher than what you think. So what we're going to try to do is put our kids in a position to where they can throw the ball and be successful. And so we don't take it for granted. So what we do is when we start our season, we're going to start simple with our kids and take them through the mechanics. So I'm going to just start taking you through just a small progression that you can do kinesthetically with your kids. So the first thing that we would do is actually work with our kids on the overall mechanics to loosen up their shoulders and their arms and their bodies. So go through the mechanics, do a set of 4, just mechanics. So they set up and they do a set of mechanics of 4. Then what we would add to it in the progression is a light flight ball. The object is not only are you throwing, but you're receiving. So every drill has a purpose. Don't just make it about throwing, also make it about receiving, because that's a big part of the whole throwing process. The object here is to have quick hands and have both hands up, let the ball hit the palm right here and try to reach and get it off the palm, almost like an illusion, as quickly as possible. So they're still going through their mechanics, and they transition the ball quick from the glove to the throwing hand. Excellent. So this is a process. They've not only went through the mechanics, now they're transitioning the ball. So they understand that as we start going through this progression, all these things become very important to the process. So we now start throwing, and when we do this, we're going to be kinesthetic. We would tell our kids, always keep your head with your hand while you're throwing. And they're going to start by just throwing back and forth to each other. Transitioning, quick with 2 hands. Then we add the kinesthetic fear of failure part of it. We don't want them to fear failure. So we're going to challenge them and get their bodies moving where their body's in space. Okay, so we're trying to get them to understand their bodies as they're moving. So now they will start throwing, but they'll start falling and then throwing, so they feel a little different. Excellent. So they're going forward, and now they're going to feel this, but just understand that in the game of softball, many times you're fielding the ball, you're in this position. You're challenging your kids to get in a position that they actually are in quite a bit in the game. To even take it to another level, then we work off at a 45-degree angle here. We just tell them, keep your head with your hand and throw from a little bit lower slot. And they fall to the right, which is actually very uncomfortable. And then we'll throw to the left, which is the opposite side of the body. So they are actually, this is totally uncomfortable for kids. To feel this against, they're throwing against their body weight. Excellent. So this is kinesthetic now. Their body's moving. They're falling while they're throwing. They have to think about release points. We're challenging them to work at this from different levels. So now they're doing it from the ground. By having them on the ground, they feel comfortable, though, that they're not going to get injured.